Good morning. Welcome to the Community Redevelopment Agency meeting. Today's date is Wednesday, November 12th, 2025. This meeting will now come to order. If you could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes. Donnell?
Here.
Gunther?
Here.
Paduk? Here. Kilrain?
Here.
Lehman? Here. Long is going to be late to the meeting. I'll note that. Lastra? Here. And Stakey?
Here.
Be present.
Thank you. Item next is number 4, changes to the agenda or adoption of the agenda. Are there any changes requested, or can we have a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt agenda as presented.
Second.
With a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay. Sorry.
The agenda is adopted. Item next is 5A, approval of minutes. Copies of the draft of the regular meeting minutes from September 10th, 2025 are included in your meeting packets. Could we have a motion to approve as presented?
Motion to approve those minutes as presented.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Thank you. Item 6 is citizens input time. These are for matters considering only the Community Redevelopment Agency. Are there any members of the public wishing to speak?
Yes, sir. I got some cards.
Okay. If you could announce who will have first.
Okay. Scott Hertz.
Thank you. We'll be using the microphone right there to your right, my left.
Just trying to get around the barricades.
Thank you.
Good morning, CRA Commissioners and Chair. My name is Scott Hertz. I'm here on behalf of 2 trusts that have applications before you for the demolition grant. They are items 7A4, which is affecting 1614 Southeast 46th Street, and 7A5, 1620 Southeast 46th Street. These are older single-family homes from like the 1950s. They're below flood. They're dilapidated. The cost to rehabilitate them far exceeded economic viability. What I wanted to make you aware of in furtherance of the CRA goals, what's going on at the same time, that will be actually in front of the City Council on November 19th. So same people in your other seats, is they have also made application to change the future land use. So these properties are currently within the CRA. One property, 1614, has the future land use of downtown mixed. The other property has a future land use of multifamily. There is an application. It was recommended for approval by both staff and P&Z to have both properties made downtown mixed. Assuming City Council approves that, you all vote for that in your other hats. Then we're applying to have the underlying zoning changed to the South Cape zoning. The idea of my clients is to go along with the CRA goals to remove blight, promote assemblage of land, encourage mixed-use development, which is in that area already across the street and other places in that area. And it will help create more of the compact urban village that the city is looking for. These 2 properties, if you know that area, right behind Monarcas and across the street from Trebling Tile. And so it's right there at the light in the entrance, and this will encourage revitalization of the properties as high-quality mixed-use developments and encourage new construction of higher density, all of the goals of the CRA. So this is part of the process here to clear these properties, make it economically feasible to do that, and then once this is done and the zoning is made compatible, the future land use is made compatible, because right now the city staff would oppose strapping the 2 properties together because they don't have the same future land use and zoning. So my clients are going through all those steps to prepare this to then be sold to a developer to then develop something in accord with this area. And I guess I'm sure you would hope that there's one more property in between them and Monarchs, and perhaps the developer then would be encouraged to pick up that property and have the 3 parcels together to do a development that's accord with the CRA goals. And we are here if you have any questions regarding those, and they're on your consent agenda today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else, Gwen?
Yes. Let's reset that. Wayne Hundinger?
Chairman, mine is
Wait.
more about the private provider discount.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, hold on, let's reset that. Maud Cavendish? What's that?
Is it Marie?
Oh,
Marie
Marie, okay,
Cavanaugh?
sorry about that.
I couldn't hear you. Like I've said before many, many times, I have a hearing disability and I can't hear anything you guys say. Most of you don't get close enough to your mics. All right, CRA Resolution 2125, almost $740,000 for a want, not a need. This is a chance for the newest council members to take the opportunity to make good on your campaign promises, to control spending and listen to the people you're supposed to represent. Something you have not done to date other than rescinding the stipend, and we thank you for that. Voting down is a perfect opportunity to honor your promises. These median projects are a want, not a need, and are costing us millions upon millions for something that in the near future will probably have to be torn up to make room for more lanes to accommodate the ever-increasing traffic. The spending has to stop somewhere, and this would be a great place to start. Just look at all the unfinished projects in the city. This $740,000 could be put to better use, like using it towards buying up the remaining properties in Bimini East that the city doesn't own. Or will they purchase those last parcels at a whatever cost, as I suspect? I have a feeling that money will be no object in that regard. And as far as the J.C. boat slips, we did not ask for this. We don't need this. We've seen the projected cost of J.C. Park go up 50% from the original plan of spending $12 million. We're already over $18 million, excluding these unnecessary docks. Worse yet, there are no approximated costs. How much? 10 million, 30 million? And how much did you pay the consultants? And was this resolution passed and approved by council, or was it paid out of CRA funds? The flagpole fundraising. A question that should be addressed in the fundraising webpage and aren't. Does the $500,000 include the purchase of the pole and the installation, the mechanisms to raise and lower the flag, lighting, and the actual flag itself? What is the total cost? Who's going to pay for all the swag offered to donors at the various levels, like VIP tickets to Red, White, and Boom, like commemorative challenge coins? How much will they each cost? Are you going to spend money on advertising? How much will the dedicated monument cost, and who's paying for that? Same for the plaques you're going to put on the monuments. And then finally, what happens to money raised if the $500,000 goal is not reached? And my records request are 104-554-101525 still has not been responded to, and it's been 27 days. I think it's about time. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else, Gwen?
Yes, Lane Jones.
Hello, I'm Lane Jones, and I live in District 1. And by the way, I think that Monarcha adjacent thing sounds great, as I drive by that every day. And what Marie said is a perfect segue, because I've heard rumblings that the council is interested in improving Four Freedoms Park. And I think, given the history of what's going on here with the Yacht Club and J.C. Park, that touching another park in this town right now is not a good idea. You're belatedly entertaining the concept of public-private partnership, floundering around to find the funding for things that are like mushrooms sprouting up. Fevered dreams of people who make six figures, these parks that we're going to be paying for, that you're going to shackle us to for the debt. It's not just your allowance that you're wasting. You're taking us down there with you. This is just a terrible idea. Four Freedoms Park, I've heard it described as run down and tired and old. Well, aren't you all responsible for maintaining it? Why is this not being taken care of? It's a cherished place. I asked one of the council members about the possibility of it being incorporated into a development. Oh, I was told possibly a pocket park. Whose pocket? Whose park? Will it be a public access park? These questions need to be asked now, and you need to be upfront with your residents. Because when this comes filtering down, and it will, that the idea of that Four Freedoms Park will not be free, and that it will be incorporated into the scheme that every blade of grass must justify its existence and pay for itself in this town. Well, I hope park equals kryptonite for a few minutes, and you pay for what you've already signed us up for. And I don't need any more time. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Gwen?
That's all the cards I have.
Anyone else that might not have filled out a comment card? Okay, seeing none, I'll open up for commissioner comments, if any.
Yes.
Commissioner Lehman?
Yeah. Mr. Hertz, with wanting a zoning change there, what are the owners talking about building there?
This isn't supposed to be a question and answer. This would just be any comments you'd like to give back.
Well-
We don't get into discussion here.
Oh, okay. I was hoping to find out exactly what they want to do with that, with looking for a zoning change before we vote on it.
But citizens' input
Okay,
is for
all
them
right.
to share with us and then for us to give any comments back, not for a discussion.
Well, all
Sorry.
right. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Commissioner Gunter?
Thank you. Just wanted to remind everyone today, I know Mr. Hertz elaborated on what the vision of that particular parcel is, but what we're hearing here today is only the demolition grant. So I just wanted to make sure that we're aware that that's what we're talking about today, only is the demolition grant for those properties. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no other lights on, I will just make one comment. And Lane, just so you know, I have heard some of these rumblings as well of things going on with Four Freedoms Park. I can tell you personally, I have not engaged in any specific discussions around changes to Four Freedoms Park. So as far as someone sharing with the public or with you that this or that was going to be done with Four Freedoms Park, I personally have not been involved in any of those discussions. So that may be some grapevine discussion, maybe that's out of order. I don't know. But what I know is that certainly that is a city asset and an asset of all of our citizens. And all of those properties became assets. And so with the thought of the revitalization of that property, with the thought of including that in that revitalization, it's certainly possible. For someone to say that it wasn't possible would be a lie. But as far as anything that has crossed my desk that says, hey, this is what we're considering doing to Four Freedoms Park, not a bit of it across my desk, just so you know. Commissioner Lastra.
Thank you, Chair. I think I can explain Ms. Lane. I was at BPAC last Thursday, and she asked the question about the rumblings of Four Freedoms Park. And as I explained, we don't have a plan. We don't have that yet. And I also explained my opinion, my thoughts, my ideas. So maybe that's how that got misconstrued. And what I explained to her was I personally wouldn't support taking away that park, but what I would love to see is the addition of a pocket park in the middle of all those buildings. So maybe that helps clarify. And so I just wanted to clarify that because that's been my stance all along. I mean, I'm a huge fan of parks, and I've said it before, we don't have any pocket parks in our in our city. So it might be a great opportunity, but that was just my opinion. I'm one of 8, so when the time comes, we'll see how it shakes out. But I wanted to clarify that. Thank you, Chair.
Sure. All right, I see no other lights, so we will close citizens' input. We'll move on to item 7 on the agenda, which is the consent agenda. We all have copies of the consent agenda. Are there any commissioners that would like to see any items pulled from the consent agenda for discussion, or can I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda as presented?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
With a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes. Lastra,
Aye.
Sankey,
Aye.
Donnell. Gunter,
Aye.
Paduk,
Aye.
Kilrain,
Aye.
Lehman. 8-0, motion passes.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to 7B, unfinished business. We have none listed. We'll move on to 7C, which is new business. 7C1 is the appointment of chair and vice chair for the Community Redevelopment Agency. Before we would engage in that, I would just like to share with my commissioners and with the public that I've enjoyed my opportunity to serve as chair since November of '23. Working with our executive director and staff with items to bring forward, as well as my fellow commissioners, to make sure that there's things on our agenda that are germane to the CRA and how that fits in and coordinates with the city's objectives has been a pleasure of mine. And if it was so desired, I would enjoy continuing for 2026. But I will now open the floor for nominations of chair. Commissioner Kaduk.
Thank you. I nominate Commissioner Lastra.
All right. No second is required.
I nominate, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Donnell.
I nominate Commissioner Steinke.
And I'm sorry, Commissioner Laster, do you accept your nomination?
I do. I'd be honored. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I do as well. Are there any others? All right, well, seeing none, Commissioner Gunter.
Yeah, I don't have any nominations, and I didn't realize that you've been chair for the last 2 years. I thought only 1 year, boy.
Well, it was only a couple months in '23 when the change was made.
Okay. Can you tell us the tenure that Councilmember Stanky's had thus far?
Yes. Maureen has that.
Because I know, I can't even remember exactly when we took over as the CRA.
The City Council took over the CRA board in November 2023. The first meeting of the new CRA board opened with you running the meeting as the chair. The CRA board took nominations, and Commissioner Steinke was nominated and appointed chair in November 2023. Commissioner Steinke has served as chair since that time.
Okay, thank you. And the reason I asked that question, I know this is something very similar to like a mayor pro tem position that we try to alternate. So with me today and my vote, it'll probably possibly be alternating those positions like we have in the past with mayor pro tem. So didn't realize that you've been chair for 2 years, 2 full years, and I guess November of '23 to now, so that's 2 full years. So just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
I see no other lights on. I guess we can go down the row and we'll tally the votes and go from there. We can start with Commissioner Kaduk.
Commissioner Lastra.
Commissioner Lastra.
Commissioner Stanky.
I'll vote for myself.
Mrs. Steinke.
Commissioner Lastra.
All right. That is 4 votes for Commissioner Lastra, 3 votes for Commissioner Steinke. Congratulations, new chair,
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Lastra. We will now take nominations for vice chair.
Do we need a motion?
Oh, yes, we do. I'm sorry. Could we have a motion for appointment?
Second.
And just for the record, Commissioner, for the appointment of whom?
Commissioner Laster.
All right. Second agree?
Yep.
With a motion and a second, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Lastra,
Aye.
Steinke,
Aye.
Donnell,
Aye.
Gunter,
Aye.
Paduk,
Aye.
Kilrain,
Aye.
Lehman.
Aye.
That is 7-0. Motion passes.
Great. Thank you. So now we'll entertain nominations for vice chair. Are there any nominations for vice chair? Commissioner Lastra.
Commissioner Kaduke, are you interested?
No, thank you.
What about you, Commissioner Kilrain? Are you interested?
Sure.
Okay. I nominate Commissioner Kilrain.
All right, so noted. Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, can we get a motion for appointment of Commissioner Kilrain as vice chair?
I will make that motion and for Commissioner Kilrain as vice chair.
Second.
With a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes. Lastra,
Aye.
Steinke,
Aye.
Donnell, Gunter,
Aye.
Paduk,
Aye.
Kilrain,
Aye.
Lehman. Passes 7-0.
Okay, great. Well, congratulations to our new chair and our new vice chair. Moving on to item number 7C2, I will turn over the gavel to our new chair.
Okay.
Want to switch seats? Okay.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Okay, we're gonna need it, probably. Let's see.
Oh, I can do that, yep.
All right.
C2, I think is all right.
Thank you. I'm trying to, sorry. 7C.
Probably should have done that at the end of the meeting.
I'm not used to this format. All right. 7C2, Community Redevelopment Agency 2026 Proposed Meeting Schedule. Included in the meeting packet is a proposed 2026 meeting schedule. Have you all had the opportunity to review this as presented? Or does anyone have any, want to amend it with the following changes?
Motion to accept, oh, you got it, you got
Yeah,
something?
hold on, I got a light on. Commissioner Gunter.
Yeah, I was just going to make a motion to approve the Community Redevelopment Agency's 2026 meeting schedule as presented.
All right. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All right. Madam City Clerk, can you please call the roll? Or, well, sorry, the clerk will state after roll call how many ayes. Yes, can you call the roll? Sorry.
Yeah. Lastra,
Aye.
Steinke. Aye. Donnell.
Aye.
Gunter,
Aye.
Paduk,
Aye.
Kilrain,
Aye.
Lehman. Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 7C3 is unimproved parking lots in the South Cape zoning district. Commissioner Kilrain, you brought this forward.
Sure. Just a little bit of discussion on this before we get into opening up. A couple comments in that we certainly have done this for quite a while down in the CRA district, and I think it's worked out well for the businesses of there. It was done on a contemporary basis. are for temporary basis, with it to sunset in a reasonable period of time. I think it was designated as 1 year for the original sunshine basis. I'm only speaking directly to commercial with adjacent property that's owned and/or leased, just as it's described in the CRA. Outside of the CRA, we have other businesses that are in similar conditions. And if the original basis for doing this was based on environmental, which is a logical conclusion, and I think with some of the discussion when it was originally done, that should apply across the city. So did he have an exception in the CRA, I think is that was past sunsetting right now, probably is inconsistent with the rest of the city. So I'm bringing it up. I'd like to hear further discussion and my opinions from the fellow commissioners on it. I would like to do it in a manner that gives reasonable time to accommodate, impervious materials there for those revamps, so that businesses who are under that condition, that they have the time to work in and plan for that in their business plan. Either do it one or two ways, make it universal across the city that all businesses have that opportunity, or to utilize that unpaved area for a certain period of time and/or force future construction so that it is paved. And I think staff has a recommendation on this, and I'd be supporting that recommendation. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Kilrain. Ms. Bice, did you have input?
Yes, to provide some background information and clarify what Commissioner Kilrain is talking about today, staff has put together some information on this topic. If the CRA board would like to hear a short presentation with some background, CRA project manager Zach Gogol is prepared to present the information to you that kind of sets the tone and provides a little bit more information on this topic.
Okay, is everybody okay hearing this from staff?
I'd like to hear it.
Yes, okay, thank you. Thank you, Zach.
Good morning, Commissioners. Zach Gogol, CRA Project Manager. I'll try to be brief with this presentation. What we wanted to do is provide some history behind the Land Development Code with this exemption to the parking regulations, and then show what it affects as far as businesses within the CRA and what our recommendation is to move forward. Going through the rabbit hole of the history that we have here, back in March of 2005, this started through planning and zoning. It went through as ordinance 3105, and during that, it was to help with the constraints with parking within the CRA, and the CRA had not developed a regulations to help provide with that. So it was designated as something that was supposed to be temporary. Going through planning and zoning, they had recommendations of having a sunset date on it, and that was backed by the current CRA chair at that time for a 1-year sunset date. Then going through March 7th, regular city council, it was again explained by the planner and the CRA director at that time. It should have a sunset date of a year, and at that point, it was approved without a time limit or sunset date. Going through, council was working on another ordinance at that time with the CRA, and that was to provide those parking regulations through a program called Payment in Lieu of Parking. At that point, it was adopted through Ordinance 9105, and that allowed developers to purchase parking spaces based off a table that was implemented within the Land Development Code at that time. We then moved forward to a regular council meeting in September of 23, and at that point, the payment in lieu of parking was removed, but then replaced with allowing the parking of on-street to be included in those calculations of those developments within 500 feet And then those businesses that surround the city-owned parking lots, which is Big John's, Iguanamia, Nevermind Club Square, and the Veterans Museum parking lot, if they were within 25 feet of that, they were allowed to use those parking spaces for their calculations as well. And then we move to earlier this year in September, where we approved ordinance 44-25, which theoretically just combined all the different the parking ordinances together. In between that time, we did increase the parking regulations, I believe, to 660 feet within the actual parking. So just to recite some of the land development code that we have, basically for sites with parking requirements, developments may count on on-street parking, parking within city areas identified within a table, and sites owned or operated by the city or CRA that are developed for public parking within 660 feet of the subject property to meet the minimum required off-street parking spaces. All sites within 25 feet, so this is within those parking lots that we own, the Big Johns and et cetera, excluding alleyways, walkways, and any of those city parking areas identified in the table, shall be considered parking lot sites. Minimum parking standards for the South Cape District appearing in the table shall not apply to any site abutting a city parking area or any site within 25 feet of a city parking area, excluding alleys and walkways. And then, so this here is the vacant lot code. This is the blanket code for the whole city, stating that it is unlawful for any person to park, store, or keep any vehicle within the lots. There's a brief summary there. Then we go through the exemptions, and the one that we're talking about here is exemption B that applies to the South Cape zoning district. And this allows for the use of unimproved or vacant property and must be zoned for commercial use. It must immediately be adjacent to the business premises for which parking is being provided. For purposes of this section, the phrase immediately adjacent shall mean sharing all or part of the property line with the business premises or directly across the street or alley from the business premise, providing that the width of such street or alley is 50 feet or less, and provide that all or part of the unimproved or vacant property lies within an extension of the property lines of the business premise across the street or alley. And then the other two items to that is just there's special hours that while the business is in operation, that the lot can be used, but when it's not in operations, when they're not open, it cannot be used, that adjacent parking lot. And then they also have to have signs posted stating that parking's only within the business hours and directly only for that business. And so what it did is it eased the parking for the CRA. So with this exemption, we went through all the known businesses that are utilizing this exemption. And 3 of the businesses without it would come out of compliance with their parking minimums that are required for their development. And that being Dolphin Key Resort, Family Hardware, and Tarpon AC. So options moving forward is we leave as is, all businesses stay in compliance. Option 2 is a 2-part, so that's terminate the property. You either do it, or terminate the program. You either do it immediately, or you do a phased approach, providing a timeline of 24 months to allow for design, permitting, construction, and possible grant award. Or 3 is that we provide the breaking businesses to barriers and the big grants to support the land development code improvements and permitting. And we recommend 2B, the phased approach. And the summary is that exemption B applies to the businesses within the South Cape CRA. Any changes to this code would need to be approved by City Council, so the CRA does not have the authority to do so, but we can make recommendations for them. And then 3 businesses would be out of compliance within that 24-month phased approach, and that'd be Dolphin Key Resort, Family Hardware, and Tarpon AC. And then again, that we recommend the option 2B. And with that, I hope that gives you some background information to have this discussion.
Thank you. Just very quickly, I want to ask a question. So have these businesses been notified that this is upcoming or could be coming, or not yet? Not at this point, because we'd have to make the decision, should we do the phased approach?
That is correct.
Okay, I've just heard, I know, and I probably am speaking for others up here, I've heard from other businesses around the city who've had to make that change, and it's been very challenging for them because of the cost currently. So I'll be interested to hear what my teammates have to say. Commissioner Stanky.
Thank you. On slide number 8, is there any reason why we could not do option 2B as recommended as well as 3?
So 2B actually does, yeah, we could do that, yes. There's not a reason why either or. We could offer that option as the grants as well. Yeah.
Because certainly, you know, as the efforts have been made over the past several years to revitalize the CRA in the South Cape, and as businesses consider coming in, as we're hopeful that they will, certainly the overall appearance of our area is important. And so I would have agreed with the sunset years ago, and since it wasn't put in place, and that was allowed, it has certainly helped the businesses that we currently have. And I wouldn't want to put any undue strain on them if at all possible. But I would be supportive of the fact that those areas that are being used as parking lots should look like parking lots. But I think to do so in a way that gives them some time to comply and some assistance through means that we have would be important for our current businesses as well. So I see the value in doing this, but I also believe that we need to assist them in ways that we would a brand new person coming to town with TIF grants and all the rest that comes in. So that's just my feedback before we would all decide. Thanks.
Okay, I have a few other lights on. Commissioner Gunter?
Thank you very much. I agree with Councilmember Steinke, where we could apply the 2B and the number 3 approach, incorporate the B2B or the big grants and for LDC improvements. You know, the 24 months, you know, when you look at this, I guess my question to staff, my understanding, we only allowed this down in the South Cape. Throughout the rest of the city, we do not allow this, correct?
Correct.
And when you look at all the South Cape businesses, which there are many, we have only identified 3. So, you know, for me to try to work with those 3 businesses, provide some type of grant opportunities for them, and give them the next 24 months in order to try to be compliant, I think is, you know, enough time, and we've given them some opportunity. Didn't really realize this until we got the backup material on this, that this basically started in 2005, and boy, we've come a long way in the downtown area. And as Councilmember Steinke said, trying to revitalize the area, I believe that this is also a part of the revitalization, having paved parking. And since we already mandated throughout the city, except for the South Cape, I believe a more uniform approach where it doesn't matter where your business is, you have to adhere to the same rules. So I would support 2B and 3 with a recommendation to go to City Council, and hopefully they'll agree to those 2 as well. My only other last question is, if this is something that looks like that we're going to embrace, my question is, for any other new businesses coming along, I think we have to make sure, you know, I'd hate to have this for a new business coming along and then pull the rug out from underneath of them 18 months, 12 months, whatever it is, a year later. So I think if we're going to incorporate something like this, the 3 businesses that were outlined, they're somewhat identified and they have 24 months. to be compliant, but any future businesses to try to come on board, they have to abide by the standard like we have already throughout the state. So I would like to possibly see whatever ordinance or resolution that comes back before us or before city council, maybe to incorporate that caveat that any new business, because you surely don't want somebody to open up and then tell them 12 months later you can't use a parking lot. So to me, that would be the smart thing to do. Thank you.
Okay. Hang on, Commissioner Kilrain. I see Ms. Bice. Your light's on?
Yeah, Zach, could you switch to slide 7? I want to make sure something is crystal clear to the CRA board. There's 18 businesses on this slide. All 18 businesses on this slide are currently using unimproved lots or vacant lots for parking. Only 3 businesses, the 3 that are highlighted, would be out of compliance with minimum parking regulations. So I want to make sure it's clear, all 18 are utilizing unimproved property for their parking purposes. However, if this exemption were removed, only 3 of the businesses would be out of compliance with their minimum parking regulations. So I just want to make sure that all of you are clear about that there is an impact to 18 businesses.
Thank you. All right, Commissioner Kilrain?
Yeah, I'm on the same page as both Commissioner Steinke and Commissioner Gunther. Basically, this all originated, I think, with Mr. Simeone bringing forth his U-Haul business outside of the city, and he was provided at that time the opportunity to use an incentive program, and I'm not sure exactly which one was applied to it. So I think that that this would be consistent with what we did in that case, and he has been given the time through the magistrate process to comply, and I'm assuming that he has a plan in place to do that. I know that there are still trucks parked outside on that unpaved area, so I'm assuming that there's a plan in place and he's a compliant state for that plan. Executive Director, you have any?
I don't know what the plan in place to come in compliance with the magistrate's ruling is. I can tell you that economic development staff met with the business owner, provided information and offered to help with the grant assistance. At the time that economic development staff met with that business owner, the business owner was not interested in applying for financial assistance for that parking lot. That doesn't mean that he couldn't apply now, but at the time that they met, he simply wasn't interested. His concern was the cost related to the parking lot.
Okay, thank you. But I think by meshing those two together, I think it makes sense. So, thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Steinke?
Thank you, Chair. Just, Ms. Bice, if you could, just for clarity, those that are not highlighted on this screen are using unimproved parking.
Correct.
Although, if they were to discontinue using the unimproved parking, the paved parking that they do have allows them to meet the requirements for the parking that is required for their business.
That's correct.
So what could happen is they could choose not to improve that property, but if automobiles were parked on the property, those properties would have the potential of being ticketed.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Seeing no other lights on, can I get a motion to approve option 2B?
Yeah, I would so move to approve option 2B and also provide with that, including the B2B and big grants to support the LDC improvements and permitting.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Go ahead, Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Yes. Lastra,
Aye.
Psyche,
Aye.
Donnell. Aye. Gunter,
Aye.
Paduk,
Aye.
Kilrain,
Aye.
Lehman. Passes 7-0.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to 7C4, commercial vehicle parking in right-of-way. This was brought forward by Commissioner Stanky.
Thank you, Ms. Chair. The issue and the reason why I brought this forward is, and we talked about this happening in a couple other instances too, where a piece of legislation that has been put in place is cast with a relatively broad net and oftentimes can inadvertently catch a fish or a turtle or a dolphin that you don't want to catch. And I think that's happened with Ordinance 44-25. The commercial vehicle parking in right-of-way, as was presented and relatively sold, if you will, had everything to do with vehicles that were parking alongside the road, 18-wheelers, commercial dump trucks, and whatever. And along the way, it was found, at least I found, that that right-of-way parking actually also includes lined street parking. So those, if you will, side streets in the CRA where our businesses are reliant upon those parking spaces for people to come and go from their establishments, if someone were to park in between those yellow lines with their whatever, their Ford F-150 that said AJ's Electric on it, they would be out of compliance and they would actually be ticketable while they went to any of our businesses that are in the CRA. And as we all know, we have plenty of establishments there that serve alcohol. And if when whomever gets off work and goes by one of those establishments and maybe overindulges and stays too long, they are, wherever they would be parked, they would be parked illegally if they were on the streets outside those businesses. So what I would propose is we have a description of what if you will, commercial vehicle can be parked as a residential driveway. We made accommodation for that for people that are in small businesses and have vehicles that have their contact information on the side door or whatever. And we made accommodation for them when we didn't want commercial vehicles in residential areas. And what I would offer up as a solution is a recommendation to council that we would amend Ordinance 44-25 to allow the same type of parking in those designated parking spaces in our streetways to accommodate those vehicles the same way we accommodated them at their residences. Otherwise, we just looked in this previous legislation at 66-23 that allowed for on-street parking to allow these businesses to meet their parking requirements. And what we will do with the amendment that we have just made, or that we're going to recommend to City Council to make, is going to further limit their parking availability of certain segments of their customer base. So I would recommend that we make some type of amendment to Ordinance 44-25 that will allow for patrons of these businesses that happen to be in business themselves to be allowed to park near those establishments in the parking spaces that we've already accommodated for by striping those to use on-street parking for our businesses down there.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Stanky. Commissioner Gunter?
Just a quick question for Councilmember Steinke. First off, are you talking about on-street designated parking only in the CRA, or are you talking throughout the city?
Well, I would consider it through the city, because if businesses were reliant upon those parking spaces for their customers to come and go, whether it's a retail establishment or a restaurant, a bar, whatever it is, to then tell them that, well, yeah, but if we have business owners that come here in their business vehicle, they can't park there, well, then where do they park? So if they were allowed to meet their parking requirement to open their business, then why would we take away from them a segment of their customer base with this legislation? And I absolutely, totally agree with it from the standpoint of, the dump trucks and the 18-wheelers and, the flatbeds with excavators on them, and I absolutely agree with all that. But with actual residential vehicles, if you will, regular customer vehicles, transportation vehicles, that happen to say Mary's Cosmetics and have a phone number on the door, for them not to park next to back streets, and for them not to park next to all of our new businesses that are opening at the Cove and all the rest of it, or anywhere else in the city, I think that takes away a resource that our businesses need.
And is there any time restriction on that? Or is that just pretty much 24 hours a day?
I would recommend 24 hours a day, especially for our bars and restaurants. If they have a customer that comes there and overindulges, you're going to force them to move their car, and I don't think that's good.
Mr. City Attorney, my understanding with the recent passage of 44-25, there is a allowance for commercial vehicles up to 2 hours. Is that correct?
Citywide.
Citywide.
That is correct.
Right. And I think today, we're kind of mixing a little bit apples and oranges here, because a lot of your discussion is citywide that should be handled at the council.
And that's what I was going to recommend.
And
What I recommend is that we bring a recommendation for an amendment to council.
And we can only recommend for what's in the CRA. We can't recommend for the whole city. That's not our body. That's the city council body.
Right, I'd like to keep you all separate.
Okay.
I realize you're all the same, but your roles right
Right.
now are different.
I don't have that hat on right now.
Correct. Your role right now is for what is limited to the boundaries of the CRA itself. And based upon what Commissioner Stanky has proposed, it would be really to identify whether or not we're going to alter, at least for this purpose, right?
Yeah.
Alter the requirements of the prohibition that we've identified within the compounds of the CRA, and then we could always take that up if there's an interest at a meeting or a committee of the whole. But for this purpose, it's really, I'd like to focus just on the CRA so we are legal.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, just to elaborate a little further, is I know there's a two-hour restriction, and I could get if a person's going down for dinner, that's maybe on their way home, they're driving their pickup truck that's lettered in some fashion that says, and they want to stop for dinner, and maybe it'll go over the 2 hours. So I could probably support maybe a longer length of time, but just to do away with it altogether, I couldn't support that. As you're well aware, we have businesses in the CRA today that are using on-street parking spaces for storage of their vehicles. That's not what those spaces are intended for. We've even applied further restrictions on our city-owned parking lots for this sole reason alone. Because what we did is we had people just driving down, parking their vehicles in the parking lot and using it for storage. And that's not what it's intended for. And so I couldn't support any 24-hour period that anybody could park whatever they wanted in a designated parking spot. That's not why those spaces are there. If you have a business in the CRA that has several vehicles and they need a place to park them, just like everybody else does in the city, they have to find a place for them. They shouldn't be able to utilize public rights-of-way or our city parking lots to use it for storage of vehicles. If that was the case, if that message got out there, there wouldn't be any spaces for the public to use to go to dinner or to go to have a drink at back streets like you had mentioned. So I think we have to be very careful with that slippery slope to make sure that, hey, we want to be business friendly and allow people to go and utilize the businesses, especially in the South Cape, or any business for that matter throughout the city. But we want to make sure that those spaces aren't utilized for storage of vehicles. That, for me, that's when it crosses the line. So, I know there's some businesses in the CRA area that had to move their vehicles as a result of this ordinance. and because they were using it for storage. And if that's the case, I got a couple I'm going to take down there myself that I'm paying for, that I'll park down there for free. So, but I don't think that's the intent of the purpose of public parking. Public isn't, if you need a place to store your vehicle, bring it on down. So I think we have to be very careful. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I'll jump in here for a second. Yes, I agree. I mean, to me, it seems like we do, actually. I know right outside of Hooked, we have almost like a loading and unloading zone, which I think is more maybe what I'm thinking you're saying, Commissioner Steinke, is that, you know, if they have businesses who are dropping off, or, you know, they have vendors who are coming to drop off, they would utilize those spaces, I would think. Now, we don't have necessarily those zones all throughout the CRA that I'm aware of. So I see your point. I see both of your points. However, I agree that it shouldn't be used for overnight long-term parking. Okay, Commissioner Steinke.
Yeah, thank you. I think more, instead of next to Hooked, I think more about where the VFW is.
Okay.
And all of the angled parking that we have there. And so for those people that go to the VFW after work, for those people that park further west, that go to back streets, certainly near Hooked. But we have new businesses now that are opening at the Cove, all around that perimeter area on that first story. I know we're going to get more, traffic, if you will, going to those establishments. And as we try to build an entertainment district down there, which is what's happening, people will go and not only have dinner, but they will go and have dinner, and then they will walk, which we are encouraging. They will walk to the next establishment. So they may, go to one of the new establishments in the Cove and then walk over to listen to or sing karaoke at Backstreets. And so the car will definitely be there longer than 2 hours. And so we're trying to encourage pedestrian traffic over vehicular traffic. And so for someone to go and, as was mentioned, have dinner, and then have to move their car to a different space. And in downtown Fort Myers, you can't even move it to a different space. Your 2 hours is in whatever many spaces you happen to be in 2 hours. So you can't even move your car to another space in Fort Myers. I know, I got ticketed. So after I moved the car to a different space, to go to a different business for a different purpose. So I wouldn't want to make us that restrictive as we try to encourage multimodal transportation, and we have the capacity to have pedestrian transportation as long as we give them the opportunity to leave the car. And it's great that we got the additional internal parking spaces inside the Cove, but that street parking that is there, that has been there forever, I don't think we should restrict that segment of the consuming public to not being able to park in those identified street spaces and must put their car inside of the Cove and pay to park inside of the Cove if they're going to walk around that entertainment district for a period longer than 2 hours.
You're talking about commercial vehicles, though. So like, somebody from an air conditioning company wants to go down and they're in their work truck and they're going to come down, let's say, to the Cove and have dinner and drinks and
Yep.
and they're going to park there. But I think what what Commissioner Gunter is saying is that, how are we going to regulate that? Like, how will we know if we allow that? To me, it seems like it would be an enforcement nightmare because you could have, a commercial vehicle doing that, but then you could have some that take advantage of it. So, that's, I guess, where I'm struggling a little bit.
Well, if there were a way to do that where, there was a drop dead point, so to speak, then the only thing that we put ourselves at risk at then is that someone overindulges and they've got to move their vehicle. So that's a decision we would have to make on how to deal with that circumstance, where if there were a 4 a.m., 3 a.m. deadline, if you will, and that person found themselves in the position they found themselves in, what are they going to do with their vehicle? So that's a decision all of us would have to make, how we want to handle that.
Well, and I think in Fort Myers, after 5 o'clock, like, it doesn't matter. It starts again the next morning. I believe at 7 a.m., but I could be wrong. Commissioner Gunter?
Yeah, I think if we, take a look at this, first of all, I think it should be a citywide approach and not necessarily just to the CRA. So I think this discussion would be better suited with the city council. But again, I think that if we are going to make a change, I think we should only look at the amount of hours. Now there's 2 hours. Do we want to make designated parking longer for those commercial vehicles? Because that's what's being restricted here, is commercial vehicles, my understanding. If a passenger's in a passenger car, no lettering, pulls into a designated parking spot, and no matter if it's in the city, the CRA, Mr. City Attorney, are they compelled to a time limit?
No.
So I get that just because you got Mary Kay on the side of your car, or you got Joe Blow Realtor, or if you have, whoever on the side of the vehicle, they're somewhat restrictive. So I can understand that, and I can understand a person may be in an area more than 2 hours. I think we need to look at the timeline, whether it's 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, whatever and keep it to that restriction. That way we won't have problems with people trying to use it, for storage or long-term parking. So I think if we craft it in that way, I could support it. But just to give it a blanket approach that says, hey, you can park here anytime you want and park overnight. We all know what's going to happen. And when it comes to individuals overindulging and worry about them moving their vehicle, I think they should surely pay that, whatever that fine is, and I don't know what it is, and not move their vehicle versus what attorney fees are. So we can't sit here and make decisions on someone else making poor decisions. But I think the timeline is the way to go. If we want to increase the time, and I'll admit, when I voted in support of this, I didn't really think that part of it out, where if a person had some type of lettering on their vehicle, it's a little more restrictive than if I go down there in my car that has nothing on it. So I think we have to find a common ground, but we don't want to create a problem that we've already known that we've had, and that's why we've implemented some of these restrictions. That's where I'm at.
All right. Mr. City Attorney, would you recommend that we table this then and bring it back to a full city council meeting for discussion or
So
a CAL
far,
meeting?
it doesn't seem, or doesn't appear to be that there is enough of consensus to even move it forward. So to address, I guess, what Commissioner Gunter said in conjunction with Commissioner Stanky, it may be advantageous to bring it back before a committee of the whole. I do have some ideas in order to simplify enforcement and really distinction between the 2-hour window versus everything else on a citywide basis. So it may be advantageous to do that. And then I can give you some proposals for you all to consider.
Okay, would that be, do I have consensus up here for that scenario?
Did I understand, bring it to a committee of the whole with your recommendations?
Yeah, I'll have some options and recommendations for you based upon what I'm hearing, at least from a few of you. And then we can go from there. And I've dealt with parking extensively. I've got there's a lot of options out there. It all depends on where you all want to land on it.
I'd be happy with that.
Okay.
And that
Everybody-
probably won't happen until January, so I think this is our last committee of the whole meeting happening today. And that'll give me enough time to get everything done.
Yeah, I think I'd like to write this date down. I heard an attorney say he had some options to simplify.
I would say streamline is key here. All right.
And our engineers should take that advice as well.
Oh, snap. Okay, all right, good. Then we're going to move on. 7D, follow-up items from Executive Director. Let's see, there are none. We're going to move on to reports of staff.
Good morning, Commissioners. Patrick Mercado, Code Compliance Officer, contracted to the CRA for the enhanced services. Congratulations, Commissioner Lastra and Kilrain, for your new appointments, and a collective thank you to Commissioner Stanky for his past service. Progress and refinement continue with the enhanced code services in the CRA. If you look at your colored statistical sheet, it's in a refined format. I hope you find that easier to digest and adds clarity to your reviews. Again, the numbers here are reflected only the formalized cases that I've made in the CRA. Much of the activities that I partake of are resolved on the spot, such as pulling of snipe signs, gathering of trash, debris, horticulture, abandoned transient property. I fill my F-150 truck almost once a day, empty it at the Everest dumpsters. Okay, for the numbers, I know this is informational only report, but the first on the left, blue box, open cases, and then below that, closed cases. I think you'll find that's an equal balance of new and closed. Hopefully that's indicative of the ability to get cases resolved and continue to find and address the new cases. The breakdown next to that, under open cases and closed cases, you won't see great changes in that. I believe the problems in the CRA are the problems in the CRA. You may see an adjustment one or two places where, let's say, health and sanitation may be most sought and addressed issue, but you'll see a little flux in that. I would like to make note to the brown table bar graph, average days to close. The zoning and land use, property maintenance, and landscaping are often commercial, and they have a corporate structure, not allowing quick resolutions. People have to get bids, go out to their landscapers, things like that. There's an anomaly for, I think, vehicles. That was from my old post. So pictures. This is an example of property maintenance. This is a pizza place, and this case actually has multiple violations. So when you see that statistic for multiple violations, it's not reflective of all the things here. This property also had unpermitted outdoor dining. They had unpermitted air conditioning units put out there, trash and debris, but I think that's indicative of the progress made on getting the blight and the poor conditions resolved. This is one of the properties that fell under the 50% rule after Ian. It's still unoccupied. It's still in the hearing process with the magistrate, but great progress has been made to beautify that. I don't need to tell you where this is, right next to my CRA office. And you would think many of these corporate offices would have regular maintenance, landscape scheduling. That just is not what I find when I'm down in the CRA. So regular visits and just making the management aware things don't look good is quite common. And to close, this is right on Cape Coral Parkway. This is an auto sound store. Been there probably 3 or 4 times. Doesn't seem like the property owner just needs a little nudging every time his property gets out of compliance. This is, again, right across from the CRA. This is a parking lot for one of the commercial businesses. It was resolved, I think, in 2 or 3 days, so we get great compliance. It just requires someone visit and make known that the deleterious conditions on the property need addressed. So going forward, we're going to try to focus on these 3 things: the landscape and overgrowth. That was brought out by Mr. Ilchism, that he would like that to be a focus. The building and parking lot maintenance is always going to be a problem as things deteriorate. People complain about not having money, as you can imagine. And then the dumpsters and enclosures. And I'd like to add to that the rear of all of our, not all, but many of our food vendors, restaurants, back of the houses always need continuous reminders that say, hey, things can be improved, and we're working hard to keep that up. Not many people run the alleys like I do, but I think that's important to the blight. That completes my presentation. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Gunter?
Thank you. Just a real quick question, if you have a second. First off, I want to thank you for all your hard work down there. You definitely see an improvement, and I know it's because of a lot of your hard work and dedication, so I want to say thank you to start with.
Thank you.
Another issue that I've seen down there quite frequently, and I know you have addressed some of the flagrant violators, open outdoor storage, that's illegal. And wanted to find out, are we going to address that? You know, to me, that's a part of the revitalization of the area. We have a lot of businesses that are keeping things outside that they shouldn't be. And I'm wondering if we are going to start focusing on that, at least mentioning it to them that they are in violation and how it can be voluntarily corrected.
That has been a part of my focus, specifically the temporary pods that have been, some places say, I've had this here for 12 years. Why is it an issue now? They're only allowed one monthly permit, can be repeated twice. So I think I have about a half dozen properties on notice that the temporary pods need to be removed. As far as outdoor storage, we had many places that had their fencing damaged during Ian or never maintained, and now you're exposing all of the materials that they had related to their businesses, plus many people store things, whether they're boat trailers or the like. So yes, that is a focus. That's an everyday thing, Commissioner Gunter, so that's definitely being addressed.
All right, because I'd like to, because when we looked at your stats that you provided, what would that fall under, outdoor storage?
A lot of that's zoning and land use.
Okay.
So you see that's a top item in there. So, of course, everybody's arguing, as I say, traditionally I've been using these properties. I've been storing stuff out here like this.
Right. Well, I know.
New sheriff in town.
I know things have been the way they've been for a long time, and that's what we're trying to clean up and revitalize the area. So
I think you'll see progress with that.
what I'd like to do is I'd like to see maybe in your next presentation involving outdoor storage, how many businesses that you've actually addressed regarding whatever the violations are, and that way we can see exactly how you're doing with those types of violations.
Very good. I'll make that a point of my pictorial presentation as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Steinke.
Thank you. Yeah, I too wanted to thank you for your efforts. I do spend quite a bit of time down in the CRA, and I do find myself on those side streets and alleyways, if you will. And the difference, I can tell you, is night and day. I appreciate the before and after pictures. That certainly tells the tale in a few different locations, but just the feel and the atmosphere down there is absolutely changed because of your efforts, and that's all I wanted to make sure that we covered. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I too want to say thank you. I'm down there. I live right off a country club in between Palm Tree and Veterans, and I walk down there. I do the farmers market, and it is night and day. I do have one quick question though. On your chart, your color-coded chart, which is very helpful, by the way, the brown part that shows when you're talking about commercial, and it shows the length of time, like with the business licenses and all of those things. You know, I would like to see that compared and contrast the next time you show to see if we've shortened that time frame. I think the biggest comment I get when I'm down there, whether I'm walking, eating, you know, going to work out, is the time it takes to the communication piece. So in other words, like a lot of businesses, they open and then they go and then they weren't aware of, you know, X. So I guess, you know, with maybe building and permitting, you know, that communication piece between code, you know, I think that's going to improve that diagram that you showed us, those charts.
I'll try my best on that. There is issues as far as when they deal with City Hall.
Okay.
They always make the complaint, it's not easy, it's not fast, I don't like the portal.
I hear that.
So that is a
Very frustrating.
hindrance.
especially for the new businesses. So anything that I think we can do from a code standpoint and as well as building to communicate more clearly, I think that will help expedite things and definitely make our new business owners happy that they chose to open, for example, in our CRA. So I appreciate that.
I'll endeavor to include that, Chairperson Lastra. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. With no other lights on, we will move on. Let's see, we want to look at item 8B, which is CRA maintenance report information only. I'm going to turn this over to staff.
Good morning. Again, Zach Gogol, CRA Project Manager. What I have before you is the maintenance report, just briefly going over some pictures and the things we're doing with our maintenance team in the CRA. This is our great crew of George, Rolando, and Joey, and they're a great addition since of early last year with the CRA. So some of the things that we look at is while we're walking through other projects, we're always mindful of what's going on, what's out in the field. We came across a tripping hazard on a sidewalk along Cape Coral Parkway. We immediately had them come out there, remove some of the metal of the tree collar that was there, along with the concrete, and replace it with some mulch in that area to make it safer for the pedestrians walking through that corridor. Another thing we're focusing on is the parking lot maintenance. Again, these were items that we would look for different contractors or through Public Works with the city that we're now handling mostly in-house where we can. So we repainted some of the curbs, and we repainted the dumpster enclosures at the Neverminds parking lot. We do have 2 POs that have been issued for seal coating the parking lot. And once we take care of this one, we'll move on over to the Guanamia parking lot and start taking a look at that one as far as the maintenance is concerned. We help the Public Works team with taking care of the right-of-ways during rainy season. They get inundated with the amount of growth that we have throughout the city. So one way to provide those enhanced services to the CRA is to make sure that we are maintaining those right-of-ways down there. Even if the city can't get to it, we'll assist and help with that. And again, here's some more pictures of us maintaining the right-of-way. That's been a common theme of the rainy season. We're a little glad it's over, and we'll switch over to some other projects here in the next few months. Here we had a sidewalk along Palm Tree. We took that tree canopy and raised it up so that way pedestrians on the sidewalk and the bike path there could get by safely. And here, just pointing out that one of those programs that we had a contract for last fiscal year was to provide the enhanced lot mowing program. And what that did is that mowed in the areas and weed whipped where the current lot mowing program has exclusion zones. Those happen to be around utility poles, realtor signs, close to the owl's nest. We don't go inside them, but we're outside of it. And then the culverts in different areas that they do not. So this is one of the programs that we used to contract out with, and now we're handling in-house to give a more enhanced level service. And with that, that is our maintenance program. That's what we've been up to.
Thank you, Zach.
Yep.
Looks great. Commissioner Steinke.
Thank you. Again, thank you for the efforts as it relates to keeping our stuff in good shape, if you will. And all of the before and after pictures are great, and I see them, personally as well as I travel throughout. I do have one comment though, as it relates to your slide number 3, and that is while the tripping hazard was eliminated, if you will, it still looks a little disheveled to me. Is there something that we can do that makes that a cleaner appearance? Certainly not to create a tripping hazard, but some type of defined area where that mulch would be and where the sidewalk ends. That still just looks a little ratty to me.
Yeah, and we want to be the most cost effective that we can. This tree will be removed, part of a 6-laning project with Cape Coral Parkway, along with the curbing being repaired too. You can see it's a little lifted along the street there.
Yes.
So we didn't want to put too much, we did come back after that last picture and added some more mulch to it, but we didn't want to put too much cost into that. So we eliminated the tripping hazard and put down the minimal mulch for the time being. But when they 6-lane, that tree will be removed in that whole area. Well, the pavers will be re-leveled and the curb will be replaced at that point.
Okay, thank you. That makes
Yep.
sense.
Mhm.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Zach. We're going to move on then to item 8C. This was the CRA project report, which was included in our meeting backup. Do you all want a full presentation or follow up with staff if there are any questions individually, or do you want, do we have?
I don't need a full presentation.
Okay. Yes, Commissioner Gunter?
Yeah, if maybe you could just, and I'm going through what you have on here. I don't need a complete presentation, but maybe an update on the Cape Coral Park 6-laning, where we're at with that and what the timeline is.
Perfect. I have Wendy Williams over here if you would like to get some information.
Hello, Wendy Williams, Principal Engineer, Public Works. As I think you all know for previous presentations, we did have some delays when we decided that to have the traffic flow smoothly, it needed to go past Coronado with these improvements. So that was one major part that took us a little longer, because then it involved utilities, it involved landscaping, because we're removing all but the very end of that one median that's there. And then a second part that advanced our timeline farther than we wanted it was, we were hoping that through the signal improvements, although somewhat minor, there are going to be minor signal improvements in 8 of the intersections there along Cape Coral Parkway. And we were hoping the Lee County, who reviews those for us, would not require full signal plans. So we had the delay of signal plans being designed on and, formally on a presentation style plan set, and then reviewed by the the Lee County signalization plan reviewers. So with that, and then that was some delay in design. In construction, we're obviously want to wait until all the streetlights are in place. And so we're looking at being done with construction about this time next year. By the time we get the design finalized, we're at right around 100% plans right now. And then we'll go out to bid. By the time it goes into construction, we will be looking at the end of next year.
Okay. Commissioner Gunter, you have anything else?
No, it's fine, thank you.
Okay, Wendy, just one quick question from me. So what can we do better? Because I know we've communicated to our residents, our constituents, that we were to start this in September. You're saying that, we had some unanticipated delays, but if we knew, or there was a potential that Lee County was going to ask for a signal plan, what can we do better to make sure that we include that in our initial time frame?
Well, I think I personally learned some from this, and really for us in the whole, in Public Works and design, CIP, traffic, we do have to look at that specifically, making sure we have enough time figured into our project timeline for design to take in all the extra work that might be required by Lee County and their review time. They're very busy right now too. They've got, I was talking to the one guy, and I think he said between 30 and 40 signal projects right now that they're working on throughout the county, that people that are in design and they're reviewing and they're installing, and so they're very busy now too. But yeah, to simply put that into our design schedule, a block out of time in case, for whatever level of involvement they might have with that. And we we made the wrong assumption this time that they would be, we would discuss it with them, they would see that it was minor changes and not require the full signalization plans, and we tried to talk them out of it, but we didn't.
I just think, I mean, and please, I mean this with all respect. It's just frustrating from this point of view because as those of us that sit on CTAC, we've been told September, September, September. So we've been communicating September, September, September. I just think we need to do better in terms of anticipating those types of delays and changes. I would rather say, you know, listen, we're not starting this till January 2026 than continually communicate, oh, it's starting in September and then it doesn't. That is constructive criticism. Please know that.
No.
Thank you.
Agreed.
Commissioner Gunter?
Yeah, I guess I kind of feel the same way. I mean, this project, if you look at it, basically what we're doing is restriping the roadway and changing some of the timing loops on the signals. So it's not a huge project here. And I know when did we start this project and when was it supposed to be completed by?
The design, the contract with the designer was about a year ago right now. And we had hoped to, originally we had hoped to finish it, construction and everything, October. So, you know, just a month ago. And so it is a huge delay, like you see. I think I would agree with you that at the beginning, that's what it looked like, a striping project, you know, and maybe some timing issues. But as we went further, and especially as the scope went further geographically to the west, it became, you know, there were some landscaping elements, some utilities elements, and it just, with the signalization, the retiming, when we talk about the retiming of the signals, that's something that can be done on the computers and the cabinets. But we're actually putting up some new signal heads too, so we can have dedicated rights. And so it's a little more involved than maybe we talked about initially there too. And so the time frame might not have been too bad if it had been just, like you say, a resurfacing, you know, something with the timing loops, but it has become more to do it right. We can't just restripe what's there and it be safe. We need to make it safe, so.
But well, it sounds like in your presentation, you're waiting on some things from the county.
Yes.
And if you could give me a list of items for this particular project that you need from the county. I know I met with the county last week on a variety of topics, and we have ongoing monthly meetings. So this will be something that I'll bring up in our next meeting. So if you could give me the information of exactly what you're looking for from the county, so we can have that discussion when I meet with them next month.
Okay.
Thank you.
That would be helpful. Thank you, Commissioner Gunter. Commissioner Steinke?
Thank you. Yeah, I share the frustration in things not happening when we were expecting them to and the way we've reported. Although, that being said, I understand the issues with finding out additional things along the way that you weren't aware of to begin with. And that's happened to us in numbers of projects. One of the reasons why we don't put things out to bid until we get permit. Because, you know, you put it out to bid, then when you get permit, the requirements of the permit aren't in conjunction with what you've put out to bid. So I certainly understand your frustration in that as the scope of the job changes throughout the process, although it is frustrating. I would encourage, even though there is the potential frustration there, that we are aggressive in our goal setting. You know, projects tend to take up the amount of time that they're given. And if we're too lax with the thought that let's try to eliminate the frustration of, hey, it's not going to get done by September, now it's going to be December. To eliminate that frustration, I wouldn't want us to not be aggressive in our goal setting, with the understanding that we're all striving to cross the finish line when we are, but that then puts the onus on us to make sure that we're on it day by day by day, and there's milestone reports and whatnot that we go through on the way. Otherwise, things can just take forever. So I appreciate the aggressiveness of goal setting and trying to understand the total scope as best as we can at a time. And so moving forward, I hope we still remain aggressive in our goal setting, but learn from the past that the scope of these jobs can increase. And so ask ourselves additional questions when setting that initial goal. Hey, have we crossed every T? Have we dotted every I? Do we really know what's going to be required to get this job done, and can we get it done by this day, and then press for it? So I appreciate the job that you're doing and trying to handle those things that came as a surprise along the way. Hopefully, we in the future, we can kind of try to predict those ahead of time as we move forward into additional projects. But thank you for your efforts today.
Thank you.
All right, Chair, let's see, Commissioner Janelle?
Thank you, Madam Chair. My question, I heard about the county. Is there anything outside of the county, any other agency out of the county that we need to get information or something passed in order to move this project forward?
No, we have internal reviews, but we have a little more control over those. But then, yeah, just the county.
Okay. Well, I understood that everything you said. I'm not an engineer, and I appreciate what the Commissioner Gunther brought forward. But once we get those elements that are outside of our control passed or conditionalized or whatever we need to do, I would like to see this put to the forward, because it just seems long. Seems like if we put the pedal to the metal, make it a priority from the council, and let's get it done. So that's all I needed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Long?
Yeah, thank you. Not to necessarily pile it on, but just to kind of make sure that we're all aware this is a little bit of a wider problem than just this particular issue. We come here and we see these updates, and I know you guys are working hard, but it's almost like part of the presentations every week is just, or every one is just bumping that estimated completion date further. So, for example, if you look at last meetings, a good amount of them, the estimated completion date, winter 2025, and now here we are, the same projects, fall 2026. In this particular instance, the two parking lots. So, again, just to hammer home the point, we got to do a better job looking ahead. A lot of us have been in government for a long time, so surely some of these isolated incidents, there's problems that will arise, but when you start to look through and realize that the issues continue to compound, we got to do a better job. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Let's see, next agenda item would be item 9, board comments. Are there any comments from the commissioners? Commissioner Stanky.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd just like to repeat, the past 2 years serving as chair of the CRA, I'm very proud of those 2 years. I'm very proud of our CRA board, the changes that have occurred and the accomplishments that have been made over the past 2 years in the CRA. I personally believe are unprecedented, and so my hat's off to my colleagues and for giving me the opportunity to lead that effort. And I see those changes continuing and the progress continuing with the new golf course, with our new businesses coming in. And I have full faith and confidence that our new chair and vice chair will lead our group in tremendous fashion in continuing these accomplishments as we revitalize our city. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Seeing no other board comments, item 10, time and place of future meetings. The next Cape Coral Community Redevelopment Agency meeting has been scheduled for Wednesday, January 14th, 2026 at 9 a.m. in council chambers. Let's see, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?